the wrong channel, but it's not. So whatever, we'll just go.
All right, so we're back on here.
Yep, we are live. This is
Okay,
the
so you're.
Pearlo Wisdom
Sorry
Show.
about sorry.
Welcome on, everybody. I got obviously we have E Money in the house, and we're going to be talking about the game tonight,
Yeah.
the series tonight. Um, okay, so last last game. Hey, how you doing, guys? Sorry. Hey, welcome to live. Sorry about that. Technical difficulties again, as you know, that wants to happen with this YouTube stuff. But we're here.
Mhm.
We're good. E Money's in the house. We're going to talk about the game tonight. Montreal, Tampa Bay, and I don't know. I got your thoughts here. I can't. I just get it off my chest right now. I think Montreal's going to have lots of confidence coming in this game tonight. Um, oh, I'm echoing. Here we go.
Are you looking at the comment section?
Yep.
Oh, I don't see any. The last comment, the last comment I saw, it's from me at 3:05. We back.
You're probably looking at the old stream.
Oh, okay.
There we go. No more.
Oh, okay.
That
Okay, now I
echoing
see
won't be on
us.
now.
Yeah, we got Mercer and Bill and
Yeah.
okay,
Okay. There we
cool.
go.
All
Bill.
right.
Not. We
Yes.
won't
Okay.
be
Sorry about
echoing
that.
now.
That
We
was a
won't.
weird start. Yeah, I know you said Montreal was gonna win.
I'm saying
You know,
Montreal's going to win. I think they just have a lot of confidence after that game. Like people will
two
say, well, they played well and they didn't win. How could they have confidence?
two
Be,
two things here.
hmm,
As a guy that has never been in Canada, I've never been to Quebec. I will say, if I was a Canadians fan, I would say a big old "fu" to the Quebec Health, whatever. Like,
oh,
put 10,000 fans there. Like, 3,500 ain't enough. Stanley Cup final. Like, you're telling me in a Stanley Cup final you're not going to raise it. That's pretty much all I'm going to say about that. I just think it's stupid. At least it's better than no fans. But I agree. I think the Canadians will win. They're down 2-0. I mean, if they lose, this is over. This is no longer interesting in my opinion. As much as I love hockey, as much as I love the Cup final, like once Tampa's up 3-0, I ain't even gonna care anymore. Like, all right, because coming back from 2, I looked at it today. Coming back from 2-0 in the Stanley Cup final, like throughout the whole history of it, 5 teams have done it. 5 teams have came back from 2-0 to go on and win the cup. The last team being, I think it was the who was it? Who was the last team that did that? I just saw it. I think it was the Penguins when they beat the Red Wings in '09. So it rarely ever happens to just
hmm,
come back 2-0 and win in the Stanley Cup. I mean, in other playoff series, it's definitely happened way more, like first round, second round, all that. But I
yeah.
just found that stat to be very interesting. I was like,
Mm,
oh wow, that's like rarely ever happened. And somehow the Leafs were one of those 5 teams, even though they've had a long history of
that would have
choking.
been way back.
60s. It
Yeah.
was like 62 or 65 or something like that. My dad was a little kid. Um, so, I mean, not that he was a hockey fan, but like, yeah, like 5 times it's happened. So I think more than likely Tampa's going to win the whole thing because it's so hard to just come back from that. And Tampa hasn't gone on a losing streak in the playoffs in a while. But I do think the Canadians win tonight. It's going back to their place. Last play Tampa a little bit. I mean, I don't even know if outplayed. Okay, so like they outshot them. I don't know if it's necessarily they like out. I mean, I guess you can argue they outplayed them. I kind of think the word outplayed is outplayed. Ironically, that might sound stupid, but whatever. Because the Canadians were pushing in Tampa's zone more in Game 2. They were in the zone more. They had some good shots. They had some good looks. Um, Vasi was absolutely dynamite. I think he had like 42 saves or something like that. So now he, in my opinion, he puts himself in the driver's seat for the Conn Smythe just because of what he did. Because Point and Kucherov haven't done a whole lot this finals
Hmm.
so far, and Vasi put in that work the other night. 42 saves out of 43 shots is good. I mean, he made some good saves. He knew where to read the puck. He knew where to drop down low, where he knew the puck was kind of bouncing around. Like he timed a lot of stuff perfectly fine. But the thing is, the Canadians did make a few dumb mistakes. They had the turnover behind the goalie net, which is the worst place to turn the puck over. You're in your own zone. Like, all right, let me just turn the puck right over. Like that's just the worst thing you can do in the game of hockey. And I think Palat was the one that like took advantage of that and put on in there. The Canadians did do a better job at generating the odd man rushes and everything like that, but they made some stupid mistakes which like cost them the game. And Price let in a softie. I think that was the first goal where it like hit off his blocker pad or whatever, and then went on in there. Not that Price was absolutely horrible. It wasn't. He didn't have. I mean, what was it, 3-1? I mean, he had a pretty good game, but Vasi, no doubt about it, outplayed him. But also at the same time, too, the Canadians just made some dumb mistakes that kind of cost them a little bit. I think they win tonight's game. I'll say 3-2. I think they'll take 3-2 tonight. And if they lose, they're done. This is over. They're not going to win the cup. They're definitely not going to win the cup if they lose tonight.
You froze for some reason.
But if they win tonight, then like they're pretty much kind of back in it. It would be interesting if they came back and like pulled it off. Well, I am frozen. That's funny.
Yeah, I don't know why, but you're frozen. You're frozen on Skype, but we can hear you. So whatever.
That's so weird. Yeah,
I
Skype's.
can't really do anything about you freezing up.
I
on
don't even
Skype.
care. Yeah, it's just hilarious. This is how I look right now. I don't care. Skype's some dog dookie, so whatever. I don't care. Well, yeah, they got to change the lineup. I think that's one of the general strategies that like coaches like to do. Like, hey, my stuff ain't working. Let me mix and match the lines and everything like that. They got to make some sort of changes, and they haven't even scored.
Personally, I think they just have to play like they already played. If they play like that, they have a chance to win. I don't agree with you. Montreal should have won that game. Tampa Bay got away with one. They got a couple lucky bounces, and Price let a softie in, and that's
Yeah,
they were. I thought if Montreal just keeps playing the way they were, I mean, they're taking Evans out, which I think is a good idea, anyways. As far as I'm concerned, Evans. I've always thought Evans was clueless on the ice. He doesn't. I don't know why you would put him in on the playoffs. He doesn't know where. It's like well, I don't know why they would ever put him in now. He still needs a lot of work
have they
before he's
have they been
eliminated.
scratching Tatar?
Uh, was he scratched? Was
Or
he
injured?
scratched or hurt? I don't know. It's hard to tell with
I was
Tatar.
wondering.
It's hard to tell with
Yeah,
Tatar in the playoffs because he doesn't show up in the playoffs ever. So
yeah,
uh, he never has. He when they traded him to Vegas, they played him one playoff game and that was it. Uh, and then they ended up trading him. It's a good question though. We'll look it up.
Armia on the second line. That's not a bad idea.
Armia's out. He's going to be.
Oh,
Is
is
he
that?
back?
No, I think he played. I thought he played last game.
Well, apparently he was on COVID protocol or something.
I thought he missed game one, played last game. Oh, and also too, a big X factor too. The Canadians are getting their coach back this game.
Tatar is injured, so
Oh, okay, but yeah, the Canadians get their coach back, and what's his face? Killorn is out again for the Lightning.
yeah, that hurts a little bit. So I guess that's probably what it was. Tatar came out, and like I said, he's only had one assist in 5 games in the playoffs. He never shows up for the playoffs. It's pretty much guaranteed that Tatar's not going to show up for the playoffs. Bring back Romanov. I'm not a big Romanov fan, but yeah, sure, bring him back if you want. I don't think he changes much. Uh, Armia, I do think Armia can do some things out there. So that'll be good that they got him back.
Yeah,
But
you
besides
like him.
that, I think they just got to play the same way. They got to play the 1-1-3, an aggressive 1-1-3. That's the way they're going to beat Tampa, and be looking for those passes because Hedman, Sergachev, those guys, they can pass. They can pass through the neutral zone as good as anybody out there, if not better. So, and they do it. That's what they play. They try to push you, bring you in, Get a guy out behind the defense and pass it up that way. Just be watching for that all day long. You stop that on Tampa, and they seem to have a difficult time adjusting to what they're going to do after that. They're good at playing shutdown. If you can force them into shutdown before there's a goal scored, that would be ideal. That's the way to do it. You take away every pass that Hedman, Sergachev, uh, Chernak, McDonough, even McDonough, like he's known for his defense, but there's nothing wrong with his first pass out of the zone. He's really good, and that's their strength, and it's what they use. If you can identify that and don't allow anybody to get in behind you, or at least know that they're there at all times, and break that up, it seems that Tampa Bay kind of gets a little flustered sometimes if you take that away from them, because then their forwards have to come back deeper in the zone, and then that 1-1-3 is a pretty solid play. Yeah, the 1-1-3 defense. So that's what they did last game, and that's what they have to do this game, and every game that they play from here on in. It's the only chance they have. And even at that, I still think it's 50-50. If Montreal plays perfect, I still think it's a not. They're going to be looking for some bounces.
I totally missed how good Kucherov did in game one because I was like speaking too soon about him. I was like, oh yeah, he did have a really strong game one, but game two, a lot of it was Vasi. But like, I do agree with your assessment there, and yeah, it's just they definitely got to change some things up. I mean, they're down 2-0. I'm still frozen on here. That's crazy. I like exited off and then came back.
Let me try to get rid of some stuff here and see if it unfreezes, but it's
it's so strange.
Yeah, I don't know. I watch all these other streams. You never see this stuff happen, but for some reason on my stream, this stuff happens all the time. But at least we can hear you. That's the main thing.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, that's what matters more. Yeah, I'm just curious to see what's going to happen with tonight's game. Um, that's okay. So Armia is probably more likely in. Okay, yeah, that's what I figured. I knew he was going to come
I
on.
like Armia instead of Evans. That's for sure. That's a much better guy to have.
Yeah, I would agree with that too. And there hasn't. I don't think there was too many power plays from the game the other night. I was trying to look at that to see how the.
So yeah, they were able to stay out of the box because they weren't chasing the game. When they play their solid 1-1-3 system and they don't let anybody behind them, you're not chasing people. And they can't.
Okay,
if you start chasing Tampa Bay, you're done. Done.
You can't out chase them. Okay, so each team had 3 power plays last game, and the Lightning's power play was shut down. Okay, that's what I thought. I wanted to make sure how that was going because that was a matchup that I was interested in seeing, the Canadiens PK versus Tampa's power play.
Yeah.
And then the game before, Tampa went 1 for 3 on the power. So Tampa's like 1 for 6 on the power play in this series so far. So the Canadiens are like demonstrating some pretty good PK stuff right there.
Yeah.
They don't really have to adjust much with that. But yeah, I don't know. I would still say shuffle the lines a little bit. I like that idea of putting Armia up in the top 6 based on what was said in the comments section because they've had 1 goal the last 2 games. Like that's just not going to cut it. That's not going to get you a Stanley Cup, really. I mean, you don't have to go point for point with Tampa. If you can slow them down and like make the ice a little smaller, because Tampa likes to stretch that ice out a lot. So if the Canadiens can do that, but yeah, I mean, like you and I said, we both think the Canadiens are going to win. Send that picks comment in there too. What's your picks there, guys?
Oh yeah, you can put your picks in now, guys, if you want.
We have Petrie and Perry on the second line. Ow. But then what would you do with the original second line?
Well, they got Lekin and Dano and Gallagher.
Oh, Petrie's a defenseman. Wait, what?
Perry, I think you meant to say.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I was gonna say. Yeah, Armia and Perry on the second line. I mean, they got to do something because one goal for both games, that's just not going to cut it. They're literally averaging one goal a game as a team. That's just
Yeah,
nope,
I
not.
don't know if it's a lineup thing or it's just a Vasilevsky's a beast thing. The fact of the matter is Montreal is only going to beat Tampa Bay 2-1, 3-2, stuff like that.
Yeah,
That's what it's,
but they still got to score a little bit more though.
yeah, it's just very difficult to do with Vasilevsky in there. I don't
Yeah,
know.
it
You want to
is.
put Armia up on the you want to put see they got Lehkonen, Dano, and Gallagher as the quote quote second line. Now back in the day that would have been considered a third line because it's but the third line at the time was a shutdown line. I prefer just to call that the shutdown line.
The
Lehkonen,
third
Dano,
line,
and
yeah.
Gallagher is the line. See, that's the other reason why I think Montreal has a better chance tonight, is that they got final change because they're at home, right? So Philip Dano is going to be playing against Point and Stamkos a lot more. And that if you can shut down those lines a little bit more, then if you can score two, if you can just score two, then and play good solid 3-1-1 or 1-1-3 defense, then 1-1-3 system, that's how you're going to beat Tampa Bay. Unless Vasilevsky has a bad game, and when does that ever happen?
Yeah,
So
it's really rare. But at the same time, too, if he wants to do Armia and Perry on the second line, what's going to happen with like Toffoli and Caulfield? Are they going to slide down?
no, they
Um,
stay on the top line, and then the second line, I don't know, like Armia, Perry, and who, and Dano, Armia, Perry, and Dano. I doesn't like I like that line. So I
this
mean, maybe Kotkaniemi, Perry, and Armia. I could see that, I suppose.
yeah. I was going to say too the Larkin, I can't even pronounce that name, Arturi or whatever.
Lehkonen.
Lekkonen. Okay, thank you. I'm the worst person at pronouncing names.
Mm-hmm.
It says here, I'm looking at the dailyfaceoff.com. He's in that top line with Deneau and Gallagher. Um, that's so weird that a top line looks like that. Yeah, that is a good point. Like that is like a third line. That's really strange. I mean,
Yeah,
I like that second line with Toffoli, Suzuki, and Caulfield. Like they've, for the most part, they've played well in the playoffs. But yeah, they definitely got to shake that up.
I
I
think
don't
if
think.
you're going to do anything to try to get more depth to your scoring, you take Toffoli off that line and you put him with Kokaniemi or Dano, and then you put somebody up on that top line, whoever on that top line instead. But I think Ducharme is doing it right. You got one weapon line, and the rest of the lines are shutting down the opposition. That they're shutdown lines. They've almost got like three shutdown lines and one scoring line, and so you're looking to win like 2-1, something like that. Because to be the honest truth, the odds are that you're just simply not going to win 4-3 ever.
Yeah,
It's just it's
it's
just
pretty
not
rare.
going to happen. Either Tampa Bay, the only if it goes over, like if it's a high scoring game, almost assuredly Tampa Bay wins that game.
I would agree with that. That's a pretty good assessment. Um, yeah, he's got to find some sort of solid mix in there. That's for darn sure. Yeah, I'm guessing you already talked about the awards winners and stuff like that too, because that was from 2 nights ago, I think.
No, we can continue on with that. That's fine. We can get your take on it.
Um, so he says Tampa wins. Yeah, I mean, I felt like I felt like Vasi, or I still feel like it, that he's certainly the best goalie in the world right now. The Vesna was very, very close. I think we all knew Vasi and Fleury were going to finish in the top two. And I mean, I could see how they gave it a Fleury. I think it's like one of those things that's been talked about the death already, but I'll say it anyway. That maybe some of the voters were like, "Oh, this is possibly Fleury's last chance of winning a Vezina. He's almost done with his career, more than
Yep,
likely.
that's
Put him
exactly
in the
what it
Hall of
was. Yeah.
Fame with it, blah blah blah." I mean, he did have a really good year. the stats were so similar between like him and Vasilevsky. Um, Grubauer had a really strong year too. Varlamov was really awesome too. So I mean, that was probably the closest contested award. I'm glad Adam Fox won it because if he didn't
Yes.
win the Norris, then he should have sued the NHL for negligence because he had a great year, and the Norris is supposed to be like that all around defenseman. That's really what. Yeah, I agree, Bill. Carey Price has to play flawless for sure because he hasn't been his sharpest either the last two games. I'm not saying that's the reason why they've been losing, but with that being said, like Fox had all the good stats, like the blocks and the takeaways and points and blah blah blah, and then everything else. It was like, all right, that all makes
His
sense.
analytics were fantastic, everything. But the only thing is
Yeah,
his team didn't make the playoffs. He's the first team player to win a Norris where his team didn't make the playoffs.
really, like
Yeah, and
ever.
there's been lots of guys before this that should have got a Norris, but the reason why they didn't get it was because their team didn't make the playoffs.
So wait, he's the
So
first guy in NHL history to win a Norris for and didn't make the playoffs.
that's right. That it's
Really? First
yeah that
ever?
yeah yeah it's been yeah I've been bothered by that for a long time. I
That doesn't.
person I personally think the awards are just not the NHL has made the award ceremonies or the awards just a novelty thing because it's not given to the best off it's too often not given to the best in that position for that year. This is one that him Fox getting it actually was that. They actually took the best guy, but most of that is to the fact that he was so much better than everybody else. They would have looked maybe just too stupid not to
Yeah,
give it
like
to him.
he was the obvious pick. He was the clear obvious pick for the Norris. And I think that's just a crazy stat in the NHL because like I'm just going to switch it to the NFL just for a split second because in the NFL there's been like plenty of times where like the defensive player of the year is on the team that doesn't make the playoffs.
Yeah, that doesn't
There's been
happen
like
in hockey.
there's been plenty of times in the NFL. I'm like looking at it right now. Again, I know it has nothing to do with hockey, but like for instance, like JJ Watt, like he's been on some garbage Texans team. And I think it was the 2014 year he was in that conversation for MVP, but his team sucked real bad and went like 4-12. But he was just in super Sand 5 mode that it was like, okay, like that's definitely the defensive player of the year, hands down. So yeah, that sucks that the NHL like doesn't really do that because Adam Fox was so deserving of it. Like he did a lot of amazing things, and I was just super impressed by him. I'm glad he won it. I mean,
It,
like again, all the other stuff was like pretty obvious. We all knew the Hart was going to McDavid. We all knew the Ross was going to David. I mean, McDavid won like 3 awards or something like that. The Hart, Ross, and the Lindsay. We all knew that like he was going to get all those goodies. We all knew that was going to happen. That was pretty obvious. Um, I'm looking at it right now too, seeing if I missed anything else. We all knew Kaprizov was going to get the Calder. Jack Adams, I'm fine with. There was a couple of good picks there. Selke, Barkov, like that doesn't surprise me too much. I thought they would give it to Bergeron because that 62 face-off win percentage is so sexy. Um, and maybe they just give it to him so many times. We're like, all right, we're bored giving it to Bergeron. We'll have to give it to somebody else since Bergeron is in it every single year. So I wonder if the voters get like fatigued by that, like, oh, Bergeron again for the 1 millionth time is in the running for a Selke. But Barkov's a good defensive center. I mean, I would have voted Bergeron, me personally. I mean, I don't know. I just do
I
what I
would have
feel
took
is.
Stone.
Yeah,
I thought
Stone's
what
a good.
Stone did for a winger is had one of the best seasons. There was halfway through the season, there was a stat that that when he was on the ice, there was only 2 goals scored
The whole year?
halfway through. I don't know
Oh,
what it
wow.
ended up being at the end, but halfway through the season, there was only 2 goals scored when he was on the ice. That's insane.
Oh my gosh. Where do you
Yeah,
find that stat at?
it was. I was doing. We were talking about it, and I just Googled it up, and I looked up, and yeah, he had 2 goals scored halfway through the season. I
What's the
think
whole
at the
year?
end of it all, he ended up being like 7 or 8 goals scored. on
My
while he
gosh.
was on the ice. Like, how does that
Yeah.
guy not get a Selkie? That's just crazy.
Yeah. Well, also
But
too, like it's so hard for a winger to get it because they don't really take as many face-offs.
Luke Cucci is the
Yeah, I agree with that. I agree with that, Lordankin, 100%. Because Bossy only had like 10 years, but he's like a top five pure goal scorer of all time. Luke Kuechly is this like god tier middle, or was this god tier middle linebacker. He played like 8 seasons, I think. I don't even think he did 10 seasons. He retired at like age 30, 31. Like this isn't that long ago. I think last season was like the first season Luke Kuechly didn't do. I think he retired in like 2020, I'm pretty sure. But yeah, Luke Kuechly should be playing like now. Like it was such a travesty to the game of football that he retired that early because he was so freaking good. Like at the moment Ray Lewis was like getting old, retiring, and all that. Ray Lewis is like, all right, I'm passing the torch, Luke Kuechly. You're the best middle linebacker in football now. That's pretty much what happened. Like this dude walked on water when it came to playing the game of football at the middle linebacker position. Oh, he was 28 when he retired. It was like 29, 30. He's still a Hall of Famer though, because he had multiple good years. He was a first team All Pro every single year. Very very good at like covering tight ends. Very good at he was just good everywhere. No weakness in this game. That
yeah.
sucks. Yeah, he probably had like 5 or 6 good more years too. That sucks. I almost just want to like hunt him down and call him and ring his doorbell and be like, "Hey, play football. You're too good not to play right now."
Yeah. In the NHL, okay, there's a good example, right? Wingers never win the Selkie ever, and that's ridiculous when a winger
Yeah,
does like that. Now, the center position has more responsibility than a winger, but there are times when I think it just happened not too long ago, but it doesn't happen very often. There are times like what Stone did this year where you got to give it to the winger. Like you said about making the playoffs. Now, it's the reason why they only give the Norris or awards to players that make the playoffs is it's this weird spit like they don't hockey has always been afraid to celebrate the individual. It's always been about the team.
yeah,
So
that's true.
if they give an award to a team that didn't make the playoffs, in their thought is there's in subconsciously or I don't know, it's they're not celebrating the team enough. They're celebrating an individual because the team didn't make the playoffs. So it might even have something to the fact that the because of management and owners will say, you know, we don't want our team thinking that we're good at all because I don't know what it is altogether, but
Yeah,
that's pretty much what it is. And you
I would
know that as
understand.
well as I do that
Yeah,
hockey does not sell, you mentioned it last time we talked that hockey doesn't sell the game enough, and part of the selling the game is selling individuals, and
yeah,
you know
exactly.
what I
They don't
mean.
know how to do that. I don't. It's the stupidest thing. So, like, two things though. I'll get into that part in a minute. Um, the only award that I can understand not going to a player that makes the playoffs would be the Hart, where it's like, okay, how can this guy be the MVP, but his team didn't make the playoffs? And like the NFL does that part for that. Like I can't recall an NFL MVP off the top of my head that like didn't make the playoffs that year. And I'm sure the NBA probably doesn't, and I'm guessing baseball probably does it because it's like the MVP. Like this guy can't be MVP. His team didn't make the playoffs. That's the only one where I can like kind of see the argument. And two, yeah, the NHL is just complete garbage when it comes to
The awards.
promote. Well, they're complete garbage when it comes to marketing and
Oh
like
yeah.
hyping up the individual players.
Yep.
They should be hyping these people up like, hey, like
Yep.
this guy can do this. Watch this game because of the stuff the guy
Exactly.
does.
Totally.
Like the NFL is good at well, the NFL is going to be mega popular no matter what, but they're good at doing it. The NBA is very very good at doing it. The
Yep.
NBA like they're very good at promoting individual players. They're it's a star driven league over there. The NHL, whatever reasons, like I don't know how to do that. I'm stupid, pretty much. And like I wish they would like market the game better. Um, Yeah, I could see that. Well, there's been that talk too of like people wanting to split the Norris in half, like have the Bobby Orr for offensive defensemen and have the Lindstrom for defensive defensemen. And I've said it before on here, and I'll say it again: the best pure, at least in my opinion, the best pure offensive defenseman is John Carlson. If it's not him, he's definitely up there because that boy has a slapper. He can QB the power play very well. Um, he's pretty good at passing it too. And then the best defensive defenseman, I think, is probably Jacob Slavin. Like if they were to split that in half. I mean, yeah, sometimes you get the Norris for the defenseman with most points. Carlson had the most points as a defenseman last year, but freaking Yossi beat him out because Yossi had the better all around numbers. And Yossi's team last year was not really all that good. So I think people weighed that like, oh, like this team would be Dookie without Yossi. Like we have to give him the Norris. And I don't think Fox finished with the most points for defenseman this year. Was it McCarr that finished the most this year for defenseman?
No, I think it was Fox
I don't
because
I don't
McCarr
think
didn't play enough
he did.
games.
I don't think Fox did. I thought Fox came in like second for points.
I can look it
We're
up
get
quick here for you.
checking here. Okay. Yeah, Fox finished second
Oh, did he?
with points,
McCarr.
47 points in 55 games. Tyson Berry finished number one, 48
Did
points in
he?
56 games.
Wow.
Yep.
Okay.
Tyson Berry had a good year when it came to the offensive defenseman.
But you know what?
And what?
80% of his assists were second assists.
Oh, Berry?
Yeah, because he
Yeah,
played with
I know.
McDavid and he just
Yeah.
basically, yeah, that he padded his stats
Yeah. Yeah.
quite a bit.
I heard something like that too. Um, I mean, not that he, I don't know. I mean, still like a good year for him and everything like that.
See, now this is what would happen. Let's say we were to go best defensive defenseman, best offensive. Best offensive would pretty much be the guy with the most points, right?
Yeah, and Carlson
But
finished fifth with points at
but now
44.
best defensive defenseman. What are you trying to say? A guy who doesn't get a lot of points and he's a pure defensive defenseman, or
Yeah.
are
Well,
you
that's what I'm
saying the
saying.
guy who's the guy
So
who's
this,
because Hedman is the best defensive defenseman in the league?
you think so?
Yes, absolutely, no doubt about it. He had a
I
rough
think
year
it's
last
Slavin.
year. He had a rough year last year because he was injured. But besides that, he's the best.
No,
Slavin,
no, no. I thought Hedman had a pretty good year.
no.
I think that last month and a half, he slowed down a little bit because he's
He
had some
said
sort of
himself
injury.
he didn't have a good year.
Huh?
He said himself that he didn't have a good year.
Yeah, I mean, the year before was definitely better. I mean, I still think like yeah, I agree, Lord Dankin. Yeah, Slavin right now. That's what I said. I mean, everybody has an opinion. Like, I'm not going to be like, oh my God, Pearlo is a terrible person because he has a
Oh,
different
of
opinion than I
course
do.
not. I mean, you're
Yeah,
splitting
yeah,
hairs too because they're both
yeah.
amazing
You're like
defensive defense.
splitting like little tiny
Yeah,
hairs like
exactly.
these little things. Like, I think all around, like, if I had to build the perfect defenseman, just taking the players from today, not going to do all that all the time, blah, blah, blah. I think the best overall defenseman, overall, top, like just overall in general, Victor Hedman. I think Victor Hedman's the best defenseman in all of hockey. I know you said McCarr. I don't think McCarr is quite there yet, but I can no doubt about it see McCarr win a Norris in the future. I think he finished second in the Norris
Oh,
thing
he's going
this
to
year. I
win
think it
way
was
more than one.
Fox, McCarr, Hedman. But I think right now I think Hedman is the best overall defenseman in hockey. Like he can do pretty much everything. He can clog up the neutral zone. He can get involved on the offense. He can play some good defense. He can put himself in the right situation. Relatively good passer. I think the best offensive defenseman, just purely based on offense, I think is John Carlson because he's got an awesome slapper. He can quarterback a power play. He's good at passing. And then I think the best pure defensive defenseman, just strictly defense, the guy, to me, like a defensive defenseman, doesn't really get involved in the offense a whole lot. It's a perfect example. Braden Dillon, the Capitals. He does nothing with the offense, not a single thing. The team's basically telling him, Dylan, whatever you do, do not get involved in the offense. He's a stay-at-home defenseman. He chills. He sits back. And that's like most of the Islanders' defensemen, like Polak and Polic or whatever. They're defensive defensemen. But I think the best pure defensive defenseman, gosh, I'm really going to lose my voice. Okay. I think it's Slavin. He just puts himself in the right spots. He's very good at breaking up the 2-on-1 passes. Like that boy is a master in his own zone. Now I think the best here's one. This is an interesting one. I think the best pure skating defenseman is Makar because he can just shift all around. Like watching him on the power play is so sexy because he's like there and like bobbing and weaving and like just kind of creating space so well. Um, and then I think the best who's the best pure passing defenseman?
Um,
That's
I'd say Hedman. Um, Hedman's the
yeah.
best pure passing. Carlson
Yeah.
when he was healthy, but I mean I'm talking about Eric Carlson when he was
Yeah, I
healthy.
was gonna say like when like in his prime, Eric Carlson was like the best passing defenseman. Like watching like some of that stuff on film, like how did he do that? Like really good at creating the breakouts. It's crazy too. Jacob Churchan, he had
Chikrin,
18.
Chikrin is
Oh
amazing.
gosh,
Most
I'm horrible.
underrated. Chikrin
I'm
is the most.
sorry. I'm sorry.
I
What?
don't. Hey, I don't blame you. That's a really tough name to like hard to. I didn't know what it was too until I heard the guy say it. Jacob Chikrin Scott will win a Norris eventually if he gets off of Arizona. He's an amazing defenseman.
He had
So good.
18 goals.
Yeah, he
I didn't
crushes
even
them.
realize that.
He's
I
got
knew Nerd.
what's that?
Sorry, what?
Do you know
Huh?
what he reminds me of? He reminds me of Jay Bouwmeester when Bouwmeester could score and stuff like that back in the day.
Nurse finished with 16 goals. I knew Darnell Nurse had a good year. Um,
Yeah, but
yeah.
he's not very good defensively. Uh, what? Oh, I was gonna say
Oh,
something
another
about
thing
that.
too that the Norris voters look at a lot is the plus minus for defensemen. I feel like.
Yeah, and it doesn't really tell much of the story. It sort of does, but not
I mean,
really.
I guess a little bit since they're on the ice the
They're
most, and
starting to look at analytics more, which is really good. Corsi and all
yeah,
that kind of stuff like that.
and
I
and that's.
think I'm going to go out on a limb here and say Makar wins the Norris next year.
I was gonna say the same thing.
For
I could see
sure.
that. I
And
could
he's
see
going to
that. Yeah.
score. He's going to be the highest scoring defenseman. Also, one of the better defensive defensemen. I unless somebody comes in and crushes it here soon, I can see Makar winning 3 in his career, if not more. Like that's
Well,
he.
you
Yeah,
think
I
you
would
think
say
more?
somewhere around
Hmm.
there. He's amazing. He's absolutely amazing. And when you put him
Yeah,
on
he,
that
he is.
team on top of it, yeah,
Yeah, that's true. I mean, he's having a good year.
he would have been a freaking. He would have been a Philadelphia Flyer if I was picking. That would have been beautiful.
Oh,
Because
really?
I would have taken him over Patrick. Yeah, back in the day, it was Nico Heischer was first, then Patrick, then Makar.
Wow.
Then
Fox had
but
13
there's all
blocked shots.
talk about also next year could make a run for the best offensive defenseman is Nico Heischer in
Yeah.
Dallas. But best, I was trying to think of best pure defensive defenseman, like because Slavin does get some points. I mean, he's not a he can he's not he's good and he can put up some decent points.
Yeah, but he's more meant for like that
Oh
defensive
yeah,
zone.
for sure. I wanted him to get the I
Wow, I
wanted
really
him to get the Norris this year, but it was he couldn't beat
I
Fox.
really like Darnell Nurse's game though. He had 100 block shots and 117 hits. That boy was just
Well, he has, yeah, but the problem is nurses. A good thing he does block shots, but the reason why you block shots is because you're in your own zone. The best
I mean,
defensemen don't have a lot of block shots because they're
oh
not in their
really?
own zone that much. So,
But I think the block shots is more of a defensive stat though.
yeah, but it
You're
is, but
blocking shots though. You're not allowing as many if you're blocking them.
yeah, but you're in your zone too much. You shouldn't have a lot of block shots because you shouldn't be in your zone that much. That's the thing. So, like, if you got players that have tons of block shots, you can almost be sure as heck that their Corsi time in their defensive zone is way too high. So because everybody blocks shots, it's not like there's a lot of defensemen that won't block shots and they have a bad and they're in the defensive zone too much. Those are terrible defensemen. at least with him, he's willing to, put his body out there and block
Yeah,
the
that's
shots,
what
which
I'm
helps out
saying.
a
That's what I'm
lot.
saying.
Which
That's what
helps
I'm
out a
saying.
lot, but
That's
still, you're playing too much in your defensive zone too.
but that's what I'm saying. I like that he's willing to like
He's willing to
put it
do it,
out
yeah.
there.
Yeah.
He's like I don't know. I like block shots. I think that's a good stat. I
Well,
mean, there's
everybody
obviously
likes it because it's cool to see a guy do it, but I, I,
yeah.
I would rather Nurse learn to be more, to
He's
be
got some
more
respect.
aggressive in the offensive zone and not fall back into his defensive zone so much.
He's,
Uh,
he's he's got
so
some
he'd have less
respectable
block
stats.
shots.
So
His
he,
his defensive stats are not very good.
I mean,
He's
16 goals, 36 points out
Oh
of
yeah, he's a great offensive defenseman.
yeah, like
He's just
27
got to
plus
work on his
minus,
defense a little better.
100 block shots, 117 hits. I don't know. I liked his game. I'm not saying he's like ever going to win a Norris, but
No,
he
I
has
mean he's a
been
good player, but he could be better. He has the capabilities of being better in his defensive zone, in the defensive zone. He has the capabilities of playing more in the offensive zone and not having to rely on blocking shots so much. So,
I'm still frozen on the screen.
yeah, I can't fix it, so
I'm
we're just gonna
frozen in
have to live with
time.
it.
I'm like what's her face? Hold on. Jessica from Rick and Morty from the first episode of the new season. Remember how she was frozen? I don't know if anybody here is a Rick and Morty lover like I am, but she was frozen in time from that first episode of the new season, and that was so freaking funny. As that, I'm reminding myself of her through the screen, basically. Like I'm just frozen in time. I'm in the middle of a deep thought, like just
Oh, you
you
know a
know,
guy that I would put up there as one of the best is going to be one of the best defensive defensemen in the league,
who's
and
that?
Ryan Lindgren, New York
Yeah,
Rangers. He's freaking awesome as a pure defensive defenseman. Or how about Brandon Carlo in Boston? There's another one. He's fantastic defenseman.
yeah. There's a lot of them. I don't think many people did their game picks for tonight. I'm disappointed.
That's all right.
Game picks, people. I like game picks. They're fun. They are fun. Oh, somebody came close. So I think I was on here. I think that was Monday when I popped on here, and it ended up being 5-1. One guy said 5-2, so he was really close.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, I think one guy said 5-2. I was like, wow, that person's close. Um,
This was a good discussion, though. What did you think? Okay, this is from a guy who like is new, kind of new. You're sort of new to hockey in a sense, but you know a crap load about it, even though you didn't get watching it till a little later.
yeah.
What do you think about Kaprizov being in the KHL for 4 years and then coming over and still being considered a rookie?
So I know like the NHL considers they're weird with rookies because Matt Murray won 2 Stanley Cups as a rookie. So like I that's confusing. So like don't they have to play like a certain amount of games and then they're no longer a rookie? Is that how it works?
Yeah, yeah. There's a certain amount of games you've played in the league that you're no longer a rookie, and you have to be under 26 years old. They made
Under-
that rule when Sergei Makarov won Rookie of the Year when he was 31 years old. He came over from
Okay.
Russia as a 31-year-old.
Hmm. Okay, so under 26 and Kaprizov's what, 24? I mean, I guess technically then like yeah, he's a rookie. This was his first year in the NHL
Yeah,
because the KHL isn't professional, aren't they like a
yeah, it
minor
is. No, it's
or they are oh
professional.
yeah,
Yeah,
but they're
but
poop
so is the
compared to the
AHL.
NHL though.
When
Yeah,
you go out of college and you say I'm going to turn pro, if you go to the AHL, you're considered a pro. So that means it's a professional league, right?
okay.
And that was my argument. There's a lot of people who are like, it's not fair. He's playing against men and all that kind of stuff like that. Well, in the AHL, you're playing against men too. And then we
Oh
had
yeah.
and then we had a discussion of which league was better. But I just wanted to see what your thing on that was.
Yeah, I mean
The thing
I
that
think
I didn't like about the awards, and this is the reason why I think it's a novelty thing now, is that Fleury won the Vezina and he was on the second All-Star team.
yeah, I saw that. That was weird. I was like,
Yeah,
okay, he won the Vezina, but he's on the second All-Star
yeah,
team.
that
Yeah,
looks
that
stupid,
was
doesn't it?
that was strange. That was strange. But like,
Because
I mean,
different people vote for All Star than they do for the Vezina.
yeah. My thing is, I mean, I guess technically you can consider Kaprizov a rookie because this was his first year in the NHL. He's below the age of 26. See, the NFL, like they like do it simple. They're like, all right, if it's your first year in the NFL, no matter how many games you play, you're a rookie because that's their first year. Like that's just how it is. Like that's your like a rookie is supposed to mean, hey, this is your first year of something. So like yeah, Kaprizov to me would be a rookie. It's his first year in the NHL. He killed it. He was awesome. He almost single-handedly made the Wild like a relatively fun team to watch, and they were boring and made people want to go to sleep before that. So like yeah, you consider him rookie, whatever. Like in the NFL, it's like hey, it's your first year. Like no matter how old you are either, which is crazy because a couple like years back, the Browns were stupid basically and drafted Brandon Whedon, who was a 28, 29-year-old rookie quarterback. Like that's old as dirt for a rookie, like 28, 29 years old. But they keep it simple. The NHL should do something like that. Like it's just weird to say, like, hey, Matt Murray won 2 Stanley Cups as a rookie. It's like, but that doesn't make sense. Like he should only win 1 Stanley Cup as a rookie. Like that should have just been his rookie year, and then just leave it alone. And then all right, it's a sophomore year. It doesn't really like make sense a whole lot if you play for
Yeah, it's just the
in
way
the
it's
past.
set up. But what I do that because I bring that up because to me, they, like I said, Fleury, first of all, Fleury shouldn't have won the Vezina. If you're really saying what the best goaltender in the league,
Well, I think
Fleury should
Vasi should
not
have
win the
won it.
Vezina.
Well,
Vasilevsky was
Vasi,
the best goaltender in the league last year, no doubt about it.
well,
No
I
doubt
think
about
by
it.
a little bit. I think by a little bit
Nah.
because you had you. Oh no. I think by no because you had okay. You had Vasi. Flurry was right below that. Like it was. I think it was close because if you pull up the stats with these goalies,
I,
they're so similar.
I
Because I think
watched them both. Tampa, honestly, if Vasilevsky was not playing in Tampa last year, they barely would have made the playoffs if they made it at all.
But so my thing is too, okay, if you look at all the stats between like Vasi, Flurry, Grubauer, Varlamov had a great year. Let's not forget about him. Soros had a great year. So in my opinion, those were the five best goalies of strictly just this season.
Sure.
They wouldn't they're not necessarily all of them top five goalies overall, but strictly just this season, they were the regular season. They were the five best goalies
Mm-hmm.
at least the stats and all that. I think Vasi has the better like overall collection of stats from top to bottom. I think Flurry only had him beat. What was it? I want to say he had him beat. Was it save? No, not save percentage. He had him beat somewhere. It might have been either save percentage or GAA. It wasn't by much. Like those 4 or 5, whatever, they had really similar stats. Um, and then neither of those two led the league in shutouts. I think Varlamov led the league in shutouts with 7, if I'm not mistaken. I don't have the stats in front of me right now. But like statistically, all of them were very, very close. But Vasi, I thought overall had the better, like, I guess, collection of statistics, if that makes any sense. And also, too, like, Vasi's more relied on for his team than Flurry is. Like, Flurry has
Well, he
Leonard
was
there.
last year because Tampa
Yeah, yeah.
Bay, Tampa Bay
Like
was just coasting through the regular season for
yeah,
them.
like Vasi, like their backup goalie is not all that great. Like Vasi is no doubt about the
Horrible.
guy. Yeah,
McElhinney's terrible.
McElhinney's not that great. Like Vasi is by 1,000 miles the first team goalie, and then Fleury and Leonard they have a little bit more of a split. I mean, Fleury played more. Leonard I think was hurt at 1 point too.
Yeah,
Varlamov was splitting with Sorokin, but Varlamov played a little bit more.
yeah.
Um, so I mean, I don't know. In that sense, too, I would give it to Vasi. And numbers like that are so close, Vasi's better anyway, and won it last year. But I mean, it's not really that big of a deal. I'm not gonna like lose sleep over it or anything. Um, but
Well, that's the
yeah,
thing is I don't lose any sleep over it either because I think the awards are. They gave it to Flurry because it was his. It was the thanks for a good career, and you're gonna be a first team All Star, so we better make sure you got a Vesna, or we kind of look stupid if we don't. So Fleury should have won it several times, once or twice before, and didn't win it for various reasons. He was the best goaltender in the
Okay,
league, and he didn't get it. So it's
Flurry.
weird with how they do it. Because they gave it to somebody else for novelty reasons, and that's
Hold
what it
on.
is. It's a novelty award. They mean
Who's
nothing. It doesn't
Vasilevsky at?
mean you were the best goaltender. It doesn't. When
So
when
Flurry
uh,
finished with a 199
when Drew
GAA.
Doughty won his, he wasn't the best defenseman in the league, not even by close. Not even
Pearlo, can
close.
I cut you off for a second?
Yeah.
Okay, so Flurry had Vasi beat GAA wise. Flurry finished with a 199 GAA. Vasi finished with a 221 GAA.
Yeah.
So so Fleury got in there. Vasi has the better win loss record, but to me that shouldn't really count much because that's more of a team stat. Um,
Vegas had the best overall defense as far as every team is concerned in the league. Vegas is. I just watched the games. I watched the games a
yeah,
lot. I saw Tampa Bay. I was talking about it all year. How, like, I don't even know if Tampa Bay's going to make the playoffs the way they're playing right now. Like, seriously, if you were to if you were to switch Fleury for Vasilevsky, I think it's possible Tampa Bay misses the playoffs.
and also too, Fleury finished with a higher save percentage than Vasi too. He finished with a 928. Vasi finished with a 925.
Yeah, yeah. It's though as pure stats are concerned, but you got to go by what the team was.
Yeah,
On the team that he's on with the stats that he has.
yeah.
It's
He
like
played 16
Varlamov had a
games.
.930, but he didn't play enough games, and he's playing for the New York Islanders, one of the best defensive teams in the league. So, do he had a .930. He had some sick. That was we haven't seen a .930 in a really long time. So that was pretty impressive.
Yeah, I mean it's close. These I'm looking at how close these stats are because I mean Grubauer had a respectable year too. I mean 7 shutouts is pretty darn good.
Hmm.
Uh, I mean he was leaned on pretty heavily because the other guy Francois, whatever happened to Francois? Did he like die or something, or is he like in Somalia
I don't
getting
know if
beaten
he'll
by
ever play
hospital
again. He's
pirates or
injured.
something?
He's been injured for a while, and I don't know if he'll ever play again. I don't know.
Yeah,
He's had terrible injury problems. They're hoping he comes
yeah.
back next year, but there's
So
no.
I think the top three were rightful, like Vasi, Grubauer, Fleury. I think they were the rightful picks. I mean, Varlamov was incredible too, but like those three guys were leaned on a little bit more. I don't know. I mean, it is what it is. I mean, Fleury had a real good year. I mean, the stats don't lie either. Like a 199 GAA is pretty darn good, and a 928 save percentage. Um, I guess I could see him getting that. Um, I don't know. It was close. It had to have been super close between the finalists. But yeah, I
What
mean,
for
Fleury's got
me,
some.
watching the games that I watched, and I watch a divorce-worthy amount of hockey.
Yeah,
Uh,
a divorce worthy.
yeah, I've gone
A
through two
divorce
already,
worthy.
dude.
Why'd you divorce your husband? He just watches too much damn hockey.
Yeah,
I
well,
had to
I'm
let him go.
finally
I had to
with my
cut him off.
third one. I'm like, okay, you better realize how much hockey I'm going to watch before you make this decision. better hang out. She's
Yeah,
amazing.
let's focus on the plans later.
She doesn't mind at all. She watches every once in a while, but she doesn't care. She goes, "You watch your
Yeah,
hockey as long as you're happy. I'm happy." She
yeah.
gets
I
to
had
do
a
her
perfect
thing. I
night
get to do
last
my
night. We
thing.
celebrated our anniversary, and there was no hockey last night. I was like, yes, I don't have to
Yeah,
worry
and
about
I don't just watch the game. Like if I'm happy if I can just have it on. Like I'm not one of
Yeah,
those people who's like, shh, don't talk. Like I don't
I,
mind talking while the
I
game's
can
on.
be a
But
little bit like that sometimes. It depends on like what's going on. Like if it's like the last like 5 minutes of like an intense game, like all right, I need to watch this and focus only on what's going on here, um, because I just want to see how it all like unravels. But anyways, but yeah, there was some real good goalie play. I thought the Vesna was like super close in my opinion.
I
Um,
thought Vasilevsky should have won it hands down.
I mean,
But
I
then
still
again, I thought there was what last year or the year before last. Bernier to me was the best goaltender in the league.
No,
He
last
was
year
on
was
the
definitely
worst team in the league, and he was the best goaltender in the league.
last year was definitely Hellebuck.
Yeah,
Hellebuck
Hellebuck was
rightfully
sick.
he
Yeah,
rightfully won. Like that was the Vesna
yeah, he
was
had no
his.
defense in front of him.
Yeah, exactly. And he was putting in that work like all
Yeah,
year long and had good stats and everything. Like he
yeah,
was the rightful Vesna. He's an awesome goalie. I mean, he had a little tiny bit of a down year compared to last year. What were his stats? They were still pretty respectable. 258, 916. I mean, they're not Vesna numbers, but like he played 45 games too. Like, yeah, his
still had no defense in front of him.
yeah, that's the thing. Like his defense. I mean, I think he's a top five goalie in the league right now. I
Oh
mean,
yeah,
I guess it's hard to do because goalies are so fickle. It's like they give you 5 good years and then after that they suck. It's like where did that go? It's
the
so
odd one
strange.
doesn't. The odd
Yeah,
one.
they're like Brodeur had like a 20 year run of being good. I mean, maybe he had some off years. I didn't see his career, but
Not
like
really. We
yeah,
don't
yeah,
remember any.
yeah. But I'm just saying like
Yeah. By
Brodeur
the
was
end of
really
his
good for a long
career, he was
time.
slipping. Yeah, but that's
Yeah, like he was old. Like Brodeur had a real good long career. Hasek was good for many years. Wah was good for many years.
Hasek never had a bad year. Waugh never had a bad year that I remember. I could be wrong about that, but I don't think so. Brodeur at the end of his career started to fade.
You would say they were the top three ever, right?
Yeah, Hasek won, and then Brodeur and Waugh probably tied.
I
Maybe
think
Waugh.
Wah's
I think I'll
too.
give it to Waugh.
I think Wah's too because you have to
Yeah.
factor in the three Conn
The
Smythes.
first, the first goal, the one he won, the first year he won it, Montreal had no business winning a cup that year. It was all him.
Yeah,
Anyways, we got to go to the doggies. Are you coming back?
I'm coming back.
All right.
I think we're gonna get into a real good
Hopefully we
conversation.
can
We'll
see
we'll we'll,
you.
we'll, we'll come back to it. I will return. I gotta charge my phone. Perfect timing.
Okay, we're gonna go do a break here, and we'll be right back after these messages.
Greetings. This is Steel Flyers from the Steel Flyers All Sports Network, and we have two very special guests. We are delighted to be joined by Tracy Musser and Nicole Howard from the Canine Country Club Resorts. Tracy and Nicole are both managers for CCC Resorts and work at the Windsor or at the club, one of two locations both in Manheim, Pennsylvania. Congratulations on your 30th year anniversary of being in business. Let me start off by saying this. Steel Flyer stands behind this company 100%. Taken care of Steel Flyer's furry friend for the last 2 years now, and they are a one-stop shop for everything your furry friend needs. In fact, let's find out what our friends at CCC Resorts offer. Nicole, how are you today?
Good. How are you?
Doing great, thank you. What are some of the great boarding services that you guys offer, and what do we have to do in order to get our furry friends taken care of when we are unable to travel with them?
Well, we like to bring everybody in for a tour first. That way they can see the behind the scenes, they can see where they stay, they can see where they play, and then we explain all of the fun things that we can add on to their reservation, whether it be one of our packages, either a nature walk, a ball time, or even a cuddle time.
Oh, wow, that sounds great. Boy, it sure sounds like a resort to me. So how are you today, Tracy?
I'm doing well, thank you.
Tracy, tell me, is it true that you guys have both an indoor and an outdoor pool at the Windsor location?
It is true. We've got one of each, so we're able to offer year-round swimming. The indoor pool is a great option for dogs who are swimming for therapy or rehab. It's got that sloped entry so they can wade into the water. Our outdoor pool is a little bit larger and it's 4 foot deep the whole way across. Both of them are saltwater pools, so it's really easy on the dog's skin and coat.
Wow, that's very awesome. So then during the summer months, you have a much deeper pool outside and then a sloped entry shallow pool indoors for the dogs. Tracy, tell the folks how we can get some pool time.
Well, the first thing everyone does is come for an intro swim. We use that time to make sure the dog is comfortable in the water. We make sure they know how to get out of the pool safely, and we go over all the pool rules and etiquette with the clients as well. After that, they're able to schedule private appointments where they have the pool to themselves, or they can invite friends and have a whole group swim going on.
So after a dip in the pool, then it would have to be off to the groomers, right? I mean, our furry friends cannot go out looking their best. Nicole, what are some of the great services your top-notch groomers provide?
Our groomers, they specialize in full service grooms. We can do the basics, whether it be just a bath and a brush out or a blowout. Or for the extra pampered pooches, we can do nail dremels, we can do deodorizing soaks, and also facials.
Wow, man, that sounds like a resort if you ask me. Tracy, I know one of the main programs here at CCC Resorts is the WAGS program. The Steel Flyers dog is enrolled in this program. So why don't you tell the folks what is involved in this and how they can get enrolled?
Yeah, the WAGS program is our primary daycare option at the Windsor. It's designed to be a structured program for people who are looking for a set routine for their dog. They all come on the same days each week, which allows them to have set friends, and we know exactly what's going on with each group. So we do a little bit more activities, and we build more into their daily routine there. But we've got other daycare options as well for people looking for a little less commitment. We do an hourly care where you can drop them off and just pay by the hour. We also do a day stay option, which is great for the dogs that prefer human friends instead of making friends with other dogs. And then we have a traditional daycare option as well if you're looking for the occasional outing for your dog.
Wow, there you have it. A full service groomer, a daycare program, and an indoor and outdoor pool. What more could you ask for? Sure seems like CCC Resorts has everything covered. Remember, DOG, depend on God.
We are back. And are you there? Are you still
Yeah,
frozen? I
I'm
don't know.
there. Oh,
We just got the frozen picture of we can't fix it, so you guys are going to have to go with it. Do we really need to see what we're doing anyways? What am I doing? You just need to really hear us.
yeah.
I don't know why that
Voices.
happens, but it does, and it did. So, whatever. We back. Okay. So,
So Pearlo,
yes.
um, so those are basically the top three goalies ever,
Yeah.
and then it seems like after that it's like a crapshoot.
Okay. Yeah. Well, hey, that's a good discussion. What the heck? Why don't we get into? There's a couple guys that I think were absolutely amazing and could have been considered the top in the top three or close to it that never got an opportunity because of the team they played for. Rogie Vachon in LA, for instance. He was an insane goaltender playing on horrible teams every single year. So that would be one. I think Roberto Luongo, if he would have played on some better teams, would have been up there. And he's still probably going to be a Hall of Famer. Uh, who else? Help us out there in the chat, guys? Who are some goaltenders that Eddie Belfour is up there, and then that just below echelon? You know, Eddie Belfour, Rogie Vachon, Roberto Luongo, maybe even Miller. Miller, if he would have played on some better teams, and it wasn't the fact that he was compared to Dominic Hasek all the time. You know, poor Miller had to come in after Hasek, so that doesn't help. Quick, got to put Quick up there.
Well, I'm just saying top five ever though.
Top five ever. I mean, you're probably going with some of the older guys. Ken Dryden, uh,
Terry
uh,
Sawchuk's up there.
Terry Sawchuk way back. Yeah, the people that saw Terry Sawchuk say he was just like Dominic Hasek. But I mean, it's so hard to compare those. That's like way back. I mean, what about Hull? Hull played 502 straight games.
Yeah, Glenn Hall, right?
Glenn Hall played 502 straight games. No backup came in. He did, of course they didn't play back-to-backs back then, but they did travel. 502 straight games without a mask.
Yeah.
So just that gives them, but Vernon, Habibulin, that's an interesting one. Vernon, okay. Yeah, Vernon was really good. Grant Fuhr. Grant Fuhr would have to be in
I
there.
think Fuhr gets a little overrated.
What's that?
I think Fuhr is overrated.
Oh, I don't think so. He had no deep. They did. The Edmonton Oilers didn't play defense. He was everything to them. His stats, you can, if he keeps his stats anywhere near 350 and point and 880, you got a good extremely good goaltender playing for the Edmonton Oilers because they didn't play defense worth a darn. They were all offense.
Yeah,
So,
Glenn Hall. 502 games. That's insane.
Yeah, for sure. There's no doubt about it to me. Dominic Hasek's the best goaltender of
Yeah,
all time.
Conn Smythe, Vezina, three-time Vezina, 7-time, 84 shutouts. I'm putting him in my top five. 502 games in a row is insane for a goalie. I would. Dryden's good, but like he doesn't really have a longevity. He only played like what 7, 8 years.
Yeah, but he won like what 5 cups in those 7 or 8 years or
Six,
something
yeah,
like that.
6 cups,
Yeah, because
5 Vezinas.
yeah, he was on some great teams. But I mean, there's a lot of guys that just don't get the credit because of the teams that they played for. I got to change my title here now. I'm just going to change it to the Hockey Geeks discussion show.
Yeah, I thought he only. Yeah, okay. So Dryden had 7 seasons. Yeah, I would say Hasek's 1, Was 2, Brodeurs 3. Actually, a lot of them say Brodeur. Like they put the dur at the end. I don't know if anybody ever notices that. I just think it's funny. Brodeur. All right, so Brodeur. So those are the top three. I don't think that's ever going to change. It'll be a long time before that changes. Um, I'd probably say Salchuk's 4. I mean, 103 shutouts. Took forever for that record to be broken.
Yeah, it came from an era where they shut out a lot more, though.
Yeah, yeah,
Shutouts happened. They didn't score as much back then.
yeah. Why is that? Was there just more like um
Because they couldn't shoot as hard. Their
yeah,
sticks,
yeah, 'cause
their
yeah,
sticks weren't as good, and they hadn't learned the technique yet of the best way to shoot, and there was a lot of wrist shots and flips and stuff like that.
yeah. I guess it is. I mean, that's the thing with all-time stuff. It's hard to compare because you have like different eras too. Like, I
Yeah,
mean, that was
it's really hard to compare to say who is the
yeah,
best of all time.
yeah. I mean, Hasek, I think is definitely number one.
Yeah,
Um,
I mean, you can make an argument for Waugh, Brodeur, and Hasek, and I'm not going to argue too much. I just I've just never seen a guy stop pucks like Hasek, and when he brought Buffalo to the finals that year, that was the greatest hockey performance I've ever seen, goalie performance I've ever seen. The year that
yeah,
Buffalo
and
went
and
to the
and the craziest stat is he is the only goalie in NHL history to face the most shots per 60 minutes and lead the league with a save percentage.
yeah,
Did it twice. He did it twice. And I,
isn't
and I,
that
and I think I told you
crazy?
on here before. I met a Sabres fan, um, like 2 years ago or 3 years ago when I was lifeguarding somewhere. I talked to him a couple times that summer, and he swore up and down that those teams were not very good. And he was like, Hasek was by far and away our best player, and our teams were not very good. Like,
No,
and somehow he just did all that
the,
pretty much
the
by himself.
the year they went to the finals, their best player, forward wise, was Stu Barnes. You've never heard of him. People
No,
that know hockey really well haven't even heard of him. He played in Winnipeg, Buffalo, Florida. I think he went to
yeah, those teams
Florida.
were just trash. Like
And
they weren't.
then, yeah, Zhitnik and Jason Woolley were their best two defensemen. They had no business being in the playoffs, let alone in the finals that year.
Yeah, but Hasek just saved everything.
The
Like
best
that's what
two-way
got me.
forwards of all time.
So I wanted to finish my thing real quick.
Okay,
Just
good. Well, then we'll
so
go
those
into
are the
that.
those are the three. I guess I'd have to look at it more extensively. I'd probably say like Salchuk's 4, and then I would go Glenn Hall 5. But that's hard to say too. Lundqvist I feel like should be in the top 10.
Yep. Yeah, he
just
should. He's
just
definitely
just
top
based
10.
on like how good his stats were, especially in Game
Yep.
7. His Game 7 stats are absolutely ridiculous.
I would go as far as to say Lundqvist was every bit as good as Waugh or Brodeur, to tell you the honest truth. It's just he didn't have the teams. When the New York Rangers had terrible possession stats, they were a shot. The New York Rangers that Tortorella built or coached was the best shot blocking team that ever played, ever, by a long shot.
I'm trying to find his games. Okay, so 8 game 7s and 2 records. Or sorry, hold on. Yeah, so he's played 8 game 7s. He has never had a save percentage below 917 in game 7s. I don't know his exact game 7 stats though, but that's a crazy stat to think about on his end. I knew he was like a god in game 7s.
Yeah. Oh,
So
yeah. Lundqvist has got to be right up there with the best of all time. No doubt about it. No doubt about it. But I mean, there's probably lots of guys I'm missing on the top of my head. I'm not thinking about it, but well, I just go. Corey Crawford will probably never be thought of as that, but he should up there. I mean, I wouldn't put him up there with Waugh and all those guys. I'd put him below Lundqvist. Maybe not even top 10 goalie of all time, but maybe in the top 20. Uh, with Then you got guys that will never be like, wouldn't even be in the top 50 that won several cups, like Chris Osgood in Detroit. Those were just unbelievable teams that had and just above average goaltender. Um, Fleury, where do you put Fleury? You got to put Fleury in the top 10 of all time, I would
I don't
say.
think so. Not with no. I'd say he's probably top 20.
No, I'd put him top 10. I
But then
put him
it's like
top
there's
10.
so many goalies where it's like, oh, maybe that guy is belong, and we're just
Who would I
naming.
knock out? I don't know. That's the hard thing about doing this sort of thing, right?
Yeah. I
But
mean, granted, it is the easiest to do by era. Like, if you were talking about like strictly just the post lockout era, then like I would think maybe Price number one, then Lundqvist, then Fleury, or some sort of combination of that, and then Luongo's got to be in there somewhere too.
Luongo, yeah. Price is
If
definitely
we're
there.
just doing it post lockout, like around that general era, I think Price and Lundqvist would be one or two, and then it'd be Fleury. And the Jonathan Quick's got to be up there too.
Jonathan Quick for sure. Yeah, absolutely. Jonathan Quick in LA. I mean, there's going to be a lot of guys that if I really thought about it, that I would probably put up there, and you'd be like, why? Because they just played on bad teams. But I mean, there was a lot of great goaltenders that never really did anything because they just played on bad teams. Uh, but anyways, I'd have to really think about it. I'd have to go back and look at exactly which goaltenders I'm talking about when I say that.
I am trying to find that Lundqvist exact stat because now it's driving me nuts.
Um, Anyways, while you're doing that, I'm going to answer the question in the chat there. The
Oh,
best
yeah,
two-way, the best. What did he say? The best two-way forwards of all time. That is so
yeah.
hard to do, man. Holy
Bergeron's
crap.
number one.
Uh, Yzerman. Yep, definitely.
Fedorov is up there. Yeah.
Datsuk. I'd say Datsuk or Bergeron are probably the two of all time, though. I mean, you're going back to the Bob Gainey's and the Guy Carbonos, and I mean, oh my gosh, you go way back. You go way back, then I don't know where you put those guys of all time. There's so many guys. I mean, I still say Crosby's not is way underrated for how good he became as a defensive forward. Uh, and then then you look at like how much offense compared to Joe Sakic was an unbelievable defensive player, and he was a great offensive player. Steve Yzerman too. Messier, yeah, I never really thought about Messier, but it's hard to really put him there because the Oilers played a system that didn't play much defense. Uh, those are all good ones, though. I would definitely put them all up there, and if I thought about it longer, I'd come up with some more. Uh, what about Joe Thornton? Joe Thornton's another one. Very underrated defensively. Unbelievable defensive player. And these are guys that were more on the offensive side of things. So you'd have to go a little deeper and think a little deeper. What about John Madden? Madden from the New Jersey Devils back in the day. He was unbelievable. Bobby Holik. Um, you just think of some of those strong. Mike Modano was underrated defensively. He was pretty darn good defensively.
Here's that stat I found. All right, so Lundqvist is 6-2 in Game Sevens, 1.11 GAA, and a 961 save percentage.
Yeah.
That's insane. That's that he's it's either him or Price that's the best goalie to never have a cup. I think the whole greatest goalie thing or like conversation that's just going to get smaller because a lot of the other great ones have won a cup. But to me, it's either one of those two that's the
Well, at
best
least
goalie. That's never
Lundqvist did make a final though, and now Price has two. So
yeah, but neither of them won.
no, yeah,
They're the Dan Marino of NHL goalies.
that's tight. I mean, it's so you're splitting hairs, right? Like I
Yeah,
watched them; they were both amazing. Like
I might give the slight edge to the Price maybe,
maybe
but
hard
yeah,
to say.
they are definitely like that's an insane Game 7 stat. That's so ridiculous. But anyway, sorry, I didn't mean to throw you off topic. I just wanted to find that stat because I knew there was some sort of ridiculous Game 7 stats. And you know me, I have to like find it and say it because I think I mean yeah, stats aren't going to tell you everything, but it still tells you like good portions of things. I mean, yeah, the thing that stinks, yeah, Messier I've heard was a pretty good 2A player. Yeah, Messier of the Rangers. There was a really good. This is me as a Caps fan. There's a really good Rangers documentary you can find on YouTube. It's called like Story of the 1994 New York Rangers or something like that. I think it's like an hour and a half long. Really good documentary.
Yeah.
I wish I was like I mean I was 3 years old but or 2.5 or whatever, um, but I almost wish I would could like it looks so cool. I wish I could just go back in time and like watch that unfold. Like they beat the Devils. I think that was like Game 7. I want to say it was like double overtime or something insane like that. They were down 3-2. I've even rapped about this before because I freestyle sometimes, believe it or not. I might even
Oh,
bust out before we get off here.
sweet.
Um, anyways,
You
so
rap, I'll Perlo dance to your rap. There you go.
okay, so that being said, Messi had that famous call, and then everybody made a big deal about it. But that Game 7 looked awesome. I've seen highlights of that series. During COVID, I got so sports deprived, I went on a deep YouTube rabbit hole of like watching a bunch of stuff. Like not whole games, but I saw highlights of that series, that Rangers Devils 94. That looked like an amazing playoff series based on what was going on, the backstory, both teams being good, and then Messi gets that hat trick. I think it was Game 6. It was a third period hat trick. I mean, Messi is the only guy who's captained two different Stanley Cup teams, the Oilers and then the Rangers. So that looked like a really awesome series. And then obviously they beat Vancouver in 94. I think that went to Game 7 as well, but they won. And then it was funny. The one guy in there was like, yeah, I missed my prom just to go to this Rangers Stanley Cup final game. I'm like, yeah, I'd miss that too. Like it's a Stanley Cup final game. Like how like prom's not even important anymore. Like that's not even like part like I didn't even go to my high school prom. And a little tiny bit of a reason why I didn't go is because there was this big UFC fight that I was hyped up for a year. It was Rampage Jackson versus Rashad Evans. In case anybody here has been a long time UFC watcher, that fight was hype for like at least a year,
Yeah,
and it ended up being a snoozer. Like Rashad was just hugging him for a
really?
long time.
Wow.
Yeah, but I don't know. Whatever. I don't care. Miss my
That
prom. Whatever.
happens so much, eh?
Yeah, a couple times here and there. So, anyways, like that. That being said, really awesome documentary. I'm sorry, I'm going like deep into some stuff. I mean, I can't say for sure who the best 2A forward is. At least from what I've seen, it's Bergeron. But again, I've only been into it since 2015. And he has a good jillion, trillion, bajillion Selkies. Like that's insane. Yeah, Iserman's 95. Oh, nice. Yeah, I was 4. Yeah, Iserman was known as that. Fedorov was known as that. I've heard Bryn Armour was good at that too. Daxuk, based on the highlights, and I think you even told me this, Perlo. He was just amazing at just taking
Yeah,
the puck away. Like
yeah,
just seeing it on the film, he would just strip it right away, and players are like, "Oh, I have the
yeah.
puck. Oh, wait, no, I don't, not anymore." Um, yeah, that's the one player that I wish I got to watch in his prime.
I
Daxuk.
honestly, if the more I think about it, the more I think Datsuk was the best two-way player of all time. The more I think about it, even more than Bergeron, and that's saying a lot. But he just did some of the sickest things, period, offensively and defensively. If
Yeah,
Datsuk played now, Datsuk would probably be as good of a defensive player as Bergeron, but getting 110 points a season.
he has three
So
Selkies.
I think he was better than Crosby.
Sometimes.
I think Datsuk was better than Crosby.
Like prime for prime.
Yeah, because he came up in the he came up in the clutch and grab era. Like to get a point a game there, you were freaking kicking butt. If he were to play today, I think he was better than Crosby. I think he was an unbelievable player and two-way player that probably maybe if you want to talk about the most underrated superstar of all time, because he got overshadowed a lot by the fact that Detroit had such a strong team, right? But part of the reason why they had a strong team was because he was on it.
Oh
Yeah,
my gosh, his
I think
takeaway
Datsuk was.
stats are insane.
Oh,
And in 07-08, he had 144 takeaways.
yep,
That's ridiculous. Is that like a record? Like, jeez.
probably. I'd never seen anything like it. The guy
Yeah, and then he
was
131 2 years later.
for sure. There was never a guy better at takeaways than Dacia. Never. No way. Like, like I told you before, he would take the puck away from players, and they wouldn't even know he did it for like a couple seconds afterwards. They'd still be trying to play with the puck, and
Yeah,
Daciak would be down
his
the going
closings
the
are
other way.
ridiculous too.
His stick skills were absolutely crazy.
Yeah, that's insane. I mean, I've seen his highlights, and he skates like he's Barry Sanders on ice. Like, I
Yeah,
mean, yeah, I mean, he's yeah. I mean, I could agree that he's underrated, but like, I think overall career wise, you still have to put Crosby above Daxuk.
I don't go by career wise. I go by what I saw as a player on the ice. Career wise, Hasek doesn't belong in the discussion for best goaltender of all time. He didn't play long enough.
He played for a
The
while.
reason why Dominic Hasek's the best goaltender of all time is because he stopped pucks better than everybody else for the time that he did. Patrick Waugh and Brodeur have more wins. They have more, you know, everything. But he stopped, and to me, Datsuk, he didn't play as long either because he was Russian. It took him a while to come over. To me, he was the best two-way player I've ever seen. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, he was.
Do you mean he's a better overall? Like, okay, like, are you saying that prime for prime, Daxuk is a better overall player than Crosby, or is he a better just the two way
No,
part?
overall, I think he was a better overall player than Datsuk than Crosby. If he would have been playing in Crosby's era, he'd have as much points, if not more, and better defensively.
I mean, most of his career was in Crosby's era because Daxuk started in 01, 02. Crosby came in 05, 06. It's not really too much before Crosby.
So that's like 4 years where, and see, Crosby started playing right at the tail end of the clutch and grab. So let me look up. I gotta look up
Yeah, like
Datsuk.
I mean, Daxuk's no doubt a Hall of Famer. Like whenever he's done actually doing the whole thing, he's no doubt a Hall of Famer. And I do agree with you that he might be the most underrated superstar ever.
Yeah,
But like overall, I
how
think
old was he when he first came into the league?
23.
He was 23, right? Yeah.
Yeah, that's a
Give
little late.
add in another 4 or 5 more years before that.
Yeah.
He came in as a late guy.
Yeah.
So he was putting up in his peak years. He was putting up. See, it's the points per game really that shadow it, and he fell off kind of fairly quick because he was getting older quicker. Right? You give him a couple more years before and play him in the exact same era. You said he came in 2002. Crosby came in at what?
05, 06 year, right?
That was his first year. He was 18, Crosby, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Well, wasn't Crosby scouted for like his whole life up until the NHL?
yeah.
It seemed like right when Crosby was born, all right, there's a future hockey superstar in almost 2 decades from
So
now.
I might be wrong there. He had 97-point seasons about the same time as Crosby, and he would have
Yeah.
been 27, 28. Yeah, I guess you could still give it to Crosby.
I mean, yeah, just in my opinion, like I just think Crosby was the better all-time player. But like I can definitely agree with your assessment saying like, hey, Datsuk is the best two-way defensive forward ever.
Yeah, I
Because
think
it's
so.
the stats are there, the
Yeah.
tape is there. I mean, he has multiple Selkies. It might maybe him over Bergeron. Because I mean, yeah, I could probably agree with that Suk might be the best defensive forward of all time. I mean, Bergeron's definitely in that conversation.
Oh, yeah.
Uh,
You can make a case for both, and I'm not going to argue.
yeah,
Like you said,
yeah,
like always, it's splitting hairs.
yeah.
Yeah.
Red Wings
There
have
was
had a
something
history of
about
that.
watching Datsuk, too. There's another aspect of Datsuk that is maybe makes me say that is it looked like he wasn't trying a lot of the time.
Yeah, and the best at taking pucks now is Mark Stone.
Yeah, Mark Stone is the best right now. That's why I
Yeah,
think he should have won the Selkie this year.
I mean,
But
yeah, they just never give it to wingers. It's like super rare. It seems like
yeah, when was the last
because
time?
they just don't take as many face-offs. They're not as good at the draw.
Well, not only that, they don't have as much responsibility as a center does.
Yeah,
A
that's
center
that's.
has way more responsibility.
I mean, maybe split the Selkie into center and winger.
Or
More
yeah, they
split.
could do the best defensive winger, the best defensive centerman. Yeah, maybe I guess, but I guess they don't want to do all that.
There's a
They'll
lot
just
of
turn it
awards.
into a novelty anyway, so I don't really care.
There's a lot of awards. It's reminding me of the swim team that I coached. We made so many awards yesterday.
Oh, yeah.
uh, but no, it's fun to talk about. I mean, yeah, that was a pretty good question to ask. I think it'd be even more interesting to talk about like who the top five goalies are in today's game, which like you and I would both say Vasi. I'd probably put Fleury at two, right behind that, and then I'd probably say Carey Price.
Oh, yeah. I forgot about defensive centers. That another defensive center that's got to go in there is Anze Kopitar,
Yeah, yeah.
Selkie. He's won two. Uh, Datsuk won three in a row. Brindy got two. Yuri Lettinen was the last winger, I believe. Yeah, Yuri Lettinen was the last winger to win a Selkie in Dallas, and he
How do you
won
determine
three.
all those stats?
He
Because
won three. Jo-
back in the day, there wasn't as many like analytics as there are now. Like, how did they determine that back
oh,
then?
Yuri Lettinen was a beast defensively, man. He was
How do you
incredible.
determine like you know what I'm saying? There just it wasn't as many stats back then as there
Well,
are
they
today.
probably went heavy on plus minus, but because that was the stat back then. But I forgot about Yuri Lettinen. John Madden won as a winger. I just talked about him.
Yeah, whenever I think about that name, I think about the football broadcaster,
Yeah, exactly. Of
like
course,
the
yeah.
Madden video game and all that.
And then before him, it was Dirk Graham. See, back in the day, Bob Gainey won like four in a row, and he was a left winger.
Hmm.
Back in 78, 79, 80, 81. He
Oh
won
wow.
he won four in a row. They gave it a lot more to wingers back then. But
I
after Yuri
wonder-
Lettinen, it was centers. It's been centers ever since. And Yuri Lettinen won it in 2002, 2003. the reason why, yeah, there was some slickness to Datsuk that was just insane. Like, he was such a slick player. I guess that's the reason why I say maybe kind of made the mistake to say that he was better than Crosby, because Crosby was like a third, played like a third liner that could score a lot of goals. He did a lot of cycling and stuff like that. Datsuk was just slick. He was one of the slickest players ever. It looked like he wasn't trying. I don't know what's going on with my AC here, but I am dying in here.
Really?
Yeah. Oh, it's crazy. I
Yeah.
have my AC on and everything, but I'm dying in here.
Luckily for me, I'm
Oh,
doing
yeah.
okay.
Datsuk skating to Sebastian Aho, I guess. Yeah. Yeah, he was a great skater. Sebastian Aho will win a Selkie, at least one before it's all over, for sure, I would imagine. Now, I wonder if Couturier will ever get another one again. I don't think so. I think that was his Selkie. I don't think he'll ever get another one again. Anyways, what we usually do this time is we talk about what's going to be happening next year. So we'll keep that maybe to the Washington Capitals here, because we haven't really been talking a lot about the Washington Capitals. And I think the Washington Capitals are pretty interesting for next year. They're just on that borderline, aren't they?
I could see Aho winning a Selkie. Speaking of what you were
Oh,
saying,
for sure, he's going to win a Selkie.
at some point. Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things. I need to start working on the when's that expansion draft? Is that next week or a week after? I mean, July
I think
20.
Yeah, I think it's the week after.
I think it's like July 23rd. I'm gonna look that up because I haven't done anything looking that up. I've been so fixated on playoff hockey and my swim team that I'm coaching, and
Mm-hmm.
I'm just trying to do my own thing. And ESPN's covering the expansion draft, which is pretty crazy. Um,
That's awesome.
oh wow, you know what popped up that's interesting? I mean, I haven't read the article or anything, but like, you know how you type in something for Google and then there's like articles that pop up like, hey, this is what this is about.
Yeah.
The Philadelphia Inquirer had one that said, well, Ghost vanished from Flyers in the expansion draft with Dave Haxtell in Seattle. Oh, I didn't think about that. I could see that because Ghost has been some dookie lately. So I could see the Flyers like leaving him unprotected. The expansion draft is July 21st, so I need to get working on that and do my research as to who I think is going to go where or what's going to happen. I mean, I haven't thought about it too much. I mean, I'm just wondering where we would trade Kuznetsov. That's still been a topic. There really hasn't been anything like.
Kuznetsov's going to be a tough trade.
Yeah.
I personally think that I think maybe Columbus might give him a shot.
So NHL free agency is July 28th.
July 28th? Okay.
That's weird that it's after the draft.
Well, how it works is Seattle gets a window before the draft that they can sign any free agent if they want.
Have you done? Oh, go ahead.
Yeah,
Sorry.
and then the draft happens, and then the free agency opens for every team after that. But like, say Seattle wanted to go, say they go to Hamilton, right? And say, you want $9 million, you want 8 years, we'll give you 72 million right now, right? Don't wait till in order for you not to go on the open market, if that's what you want, we'll give it to you right now. They can do that, or with anybody else that's out there right now. As far as Gostisbehere is concerned, yeah, I mean, if I wouldn't doubt if he goes to Seattle, but if I'm Ron Francis, and I've mentioned this before, I would be like, Nah, I don't really want Gosh to Spear. He's making $4.5 million a year. I know you guys are looking for cap room. I'll take Obey Kubel because I don't care if I win for the next 3 years. I don't care. I want draft picks. So if you want me to take Gosh to Spear, you got to throw me a second round pick. And if
My
they say
question,
no, then okay, I'll take Obey Kubel. And you can go see if you can get a second round pick. You see if you can get somebody else to take Gosh to Spear off your hands, which they won't
that's
be
right.
able to.
18th is the protection list. So my question is with
Oh yeah,
the
we didn't even talk about that.
so the yeah 18th is the protection list. That's when that's due. Do they
Yeah.
say who? Oh no, they wait. Did they tell us who got protected or not that day?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, so we'll know like, hey, the Capitals didn't protect this guy; they protected these guys instead.
Yep. Yep. That's right.
I mean, I still think, like I was saying, like obviously Ovechkin, Backstrom, Tom Wilson,
Hey,
Oshie,
jacket.
Mantha, Eller. Um, me personally, I would protect Dowd at 7, and then our 3 defensemen: Carlson, Dillon, Orloff,
Yep.
and then goalie. I feel like that'll be an interesting one, but I would take Vitek over Samsonov.
Oh, I would grab Samsonov in a heartbeat. Samsonov's gone. Bye bye. I'd be grabbing him in a heartbeat if I'm.
Yeah, but that's the thing. I could see Seattle getting him. But then there's other teams that have multiple good. I mean, I would have to really go deep into all this because I think here 2 or 3 weeks ago, I think I named like 8 or 9 teams that had good goaltending duos. It wasn't as many as I thought. So Vegas, I'm not Vegas, Seattle could take one of those people. Have you already done an expansion mock draft, Perlo?
Oh, we do it like every day, pretty much.
We haven't
We
had the
just talk
whole
about it every
set.
day, pretty much. You doing the actual draft, things change so much. Whatever you're saying now is going to change because those teams are going to be making trades, so they don't have to protect, so they can get something
Yeah,
for the players that they don't
right.
protect.
Like Arvidsson just got traded. I think it was yesterday to the Kings.
Yeah. Um,
And then obviously the Kings are going to protect him since they just traded for him.
I don't think Seattle will end up with a team better than the Canucks because I don't think Seattle wants a team better than the Canucks. I wouldn't. I don't think they're going to do what Vegas does at all. Did at all. Like for instance, you with Washington, you're leaving Schultz out there, right? How many years does he have left on his contract? You,
Maybe like 1 or 2.
I might take him to trade him. I'd take him and see what I could get for him somewhere else. If anybody needs an offensive defenseman, if they would give me
So
something
my
for him.
question is for you: who do you think Seattle takes from the Capitals?
If who do I think? Well, if you're leaving Samsonov out, that's who it is.
But who do you think though?
That's who I would take.
So you,
It,
you think the Capitals leave Samsonov out?
oh, I think they're going to leave Vanacek out. Um,
But
or
my
they're going to
question
trade,
is though,
or
aren't
they're
they
going to.
both?
Actually, I think they'll trade Vanacek before and they'll keep Samsonov and they'll find another goaltender after. That's what I
I mean,
think.
hopefully Lundqvist could play next year.
Yeah, I think they'll trade Vanacek for like a middle round draft pick. There's lots of teams out there that would like to have Vanacek.
My question is, Perlo. The thing that confuses me, I thought it was like first and second year players get protected because this
You
was
have to play 56 games in the NHL or something like that.
to get protected or no?
That if you play over 56 games, you have to be protected. You have to protect them or let them go. If you haven't played 56 games, then they don't need to protect them because Seattle can't pick them.
Oh, so they're exempt. They're not on like a protection list.
They're exempt. That's what I was looking for. The word.
Okay. So they play less than 56 games like total.
Yeah,
What?
it says Eller to the Kraken. There's a good example. Okay, how
What?
much?
Eller? No, we're
How?
keeping Eller.
Well, I mean, if you want cap room and you want to improve somewhere else, you can leave Allen out there. Let's
Oh
just
my
say
God.
for a second they leave Eller out. Okay, How much is he making for how many years?
I don't know off the top of my head.
I can check.
Probably like 5 million.
For I think they signed him to quite the contract there, right? See, the Washington Capitals might be looking to get some cap space.
Oh, I would be
So,
so
and
mad.
they could get somebody better than somebody better because they need help on their defense still. I think they really do need some help on
Yeah.
their defense. So they could, but I mean they'll leave Evgeny like they got to trade Kuznetsov, or they're going to leave him out.
Yeah, it's gonna be one of those two things.
If Eller at 3.5 million, okay, that's not too bad. I would take Eller then. He's 32 years old though. Not a guy I really want if I'm Seattle.
I mean, I would hope we would just protect him though.
I think he'll be protected. Yeah.
Yeah, he should be. So my question is, because I don't think Vitex played 56 NHL games, so he's exempt, I guess.
Martin Nietzsche, I think Martin Nietzsche, you have to play over 2 years and over 56 games. It's a combination of the two. You have to have been more than 2 years pro and over 56 games or something like that. So I didn't know he was exempt. I thought they had to protect him. Wow. He must have
Wait,
been right
Negus
on
is
the wire.
exempt from being. He played way more than 50. Wait, how's he exempt?
Because he hasn't played 2 years pro.
Oh, so it's like whoever's played less than 2 years pro. Wait.
Yeah, I think that's how it is. Let me look that up, by the way.
Yeah, because I keep getting confused with that part.
And that includes the AHL. I'm really surprised that he's exempt. Carolina. Nietzsche. So he's on an L. He's played 2 years. He shouldn't be exempt.
So that means like Kel McCarr won't be exempt. I mean, I know he would be protected, but like I'm just because McCarr's played 2 years.
Yeah, I think he is exempt. Well, now I'm gonna have to look up expansion rules just before we head out.
I'm looking up right now. Okay, so
you look it up.
the 30 other teams minus Vegas have to submit their list of protected players by July 17th. I was told July 18th. I don't know. One of those 2 days.
Vanacek does have to be protected. Hockey News reports. That's for sure. I know that he's played.
Oh. So is Vanacek exempt or not?
I don't. No, he's not exempt.
Okay. All right. I'm gonna keep reading. Okay. Where was I? Okay. So teams have to submit a list of players. Obviously, we know that they have to expose at least 2 forwards and 1 defenseman who are under contract for the 2021-2022 season and have played at least 27 games in the 2020-21 season or more than 54 games in the 2019 to 2021 seasons combined. Teams must also expose a goaltender. Okay, at least 20 or 30. That still sounds confusing.
Just read it out. I'll understand it.
Okay. So it's saying that we have to expose at least 2 forwards and 1 defenseman who are under contract for next season and have played at least 27 games. Oh, okay. So if there was like a player that's played less than 54 games total since the 2019-2020 year, I guess he's exempt, I'm assuming.
Right. I think the reason why okay, I could be wrong here, but I think what the problem with Carolina with Nietzsche is, do they have any forwards? They have to put 2 forwards out there that are under contract. He's not going to be under contract. He needs to get a contract. He's a restricted free agent this year. So that might be it. Let me look at who they're
I
protecting.
think VTech would be exempt because he's only played 37 total games.
It's different for goaltenders.
Oh, it is?
Yeah. Just wait a sec. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yes. The problem is they've set themselves up pretty good. He's not exempt. Oh no, 2021-22, he does have a contract. He's under contract next year. So I don't know why he would be exempt, honestly. I have no idea. I have no idea. He shouldn't be exempt.
I'm reading here, first and second year players are exempt. I think VTech's exempt.
That's first and second year pro players, not NHL. Pro.
Oh, okay. Oh.
So if you played in the AHL for a year and then you played 2 in the NHL, then you're not exempt. Okay, Marty Nietzsche, with a year remaining from his entry-level contract, is exempt from being drafted.
How's he exempt?
Okay, I don't know. He's right on the border, so this is interesting. Marty Nietzsche, with 1 year remaining on his entry-level contract, is exempt. So that must just because he's only had 2 years pro experience. That's got to be it. Which is pretty awesome for them, that they don't have to protect him. I think it's probably going to be... Carolina is very interesting because it's probably going to be a defenseman. It's probably going to be either they're going to protect Slavin, Pesci, and Shea, or Jake Bean. I think they'll lose Brady Shea. I would probably take Brady Shea. I think they're going to lose Brady Shea unless they trade him beforehand, which is unlikely. Because you got to remember, anybody who trades for a player now before the draft, they also have to protect that player on their roster, right? Yeah, Vegas was motivated to become that, though, Jeff. Vegas went for it that way. Seattle's not going to go for it that way, I don't believe. They didn't hire Francis. They hired the general manager that Seattle hired, Ron Francis, is not a guy that's going to be unconventional like Vegas. And plus, the Seattle market doesn't need to do what Vegas did. Vegas felt that they needed to be as good as they possibly could right away so they could sell tickets. So they went for it and became the best team that they could possibly be, realizing that Vegas will likely go through a horrible rebuild in the next little while. It will, like, a really bad rebuild. They've got so many older guys with big contracts and stuff like that. But by that time, they're hoping that they have enough of a fan base that they're going to be able to live with that. Seattle is right beside Vancouver. They already are a strong hockey place. By hiring Ron Francis, what they've done is they've decided to basically tank for the first 4 years. They're going to tank. They're going to grab many first-round picks as they possibly can and become a dynasty. That's what I think they're going to do.
And now that you mentioned the Seattle-Vancouver thing, I think I said it a long time ago. I don't know if it was on here. I think it was on my podcast before I got rid of it.
Yeah,
I'm looking at a mock expansion draft right now just to get more of an idea. it has the Canucks losing Braden Holtby to Seattle. And I was saying a while ago that I think part of some of the reasons why Holtby chose to go to Vancouver is that one, he was thinking, okay, like this is a potentially good young team, even though they definitely did not show that this year. And two, Holtby was probably thinking in the back of his mind, like, oh, hey, like there's a chance that Seattle actually drafts me. And like you were saying, Vancouver and Seattle are not very far from each other. They're like an hour and a half apart or something like that. Let me look up that distance. So Holtby was probably thinking, okay, let me move to Vancouver. And then once I get drafted by Seattle, possibly I don't have to move that far again.
Yeah, possibly.
It's a 3 hour and 3 minute drive from Vancouver to
He's from
Seattle.
Manitoba too, so it's a little closer to home in Vancouver.
Yeah, so I think that's why Holtby decided to go there, be closer to home, and then if he gets picked by Seattle, he's not really that far from home. So I think he had been thinking about that. That's my guess, at least. I don't know him. I don't have his cell phone number or Facebook or anything. Also, too, I forgot to mention on here, reverting back to, yeah, I could see that, Lord Denkin. I could see that. I mean, there's a chance that Seattle, I saw this mock just now, there's a chance that they could get Hudobin because always injured Ben Bishop has a no movement clause.
Yeah.
Which, like, that sucks because he'll be injured next season and Dallas will be weak at net. And then Hudobin goes to Seattle. I could see them having some good goaltending because there's at least like 8 or 9 teams in the league that have a good goaltending duo. So that I don't know. That being said, it has us losing Orlov to Seattle.
Oh my gosh!
But that's before this was back in January or February. That's before the Kuzi thing kind of blew up a little more. Because it has us protecting like. Yeah, this is before the Vrana trade too, and we're not protecting Panik. Panik's not that good. They can take Panik. I don't care.
I think this will be a fun thing to do when you come back, because we'll look at all the Seattle mocks, and we'll kind of like look at it and go, I think that'd be fun. Let's do that.
Yeah, Panik's a wet fart. I could care less about Panik. I mean, so here's the line. I was just curious to look. Okay. So, anyways, one thing I wanted to mention, reverting back to what we were talking about with the Cup Final Series and how that's gone so far. I forgot to mention this, and shame on me for forgetting. The other thing that helped out with Tampa is that I believe it was a 1-1 tie for a little bit. It was a really intense game for a while there. It was a good game to watch. I was pretty entertained. Coleman made that sick freaking goal. Oh my gosh, that was so freaking filthy. To end the second period, buzzer beater, he's just diving out and just taps it in there. That was no doubt about it the best goal of the entire 2021 NHL playoffs. Like, that was a sick goal. And then Tampa gets that momentum in the third. And I was thinking about that as it happened. I was like, wow, I really wonder if this like pushes it for Tampa to win the game. That was a sick, 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 sick goal. That's cool. Take the ferry to Seattle. That's cool. What was I going to say? But yeah, that was an awesome goal. I had to mention that. I totally forgot to talk about earlier. That's what helped give Tampa the win. That goal was awesome. And Coleman's going to get overpaid somewhere. I don't think he'll be at the Lightning next year. It's going to be a really interesting season for the Lightning, whether they win the Cup or don't, because they have so many players that they have to focus on with the contracts. That mock that I looked at had Seattle taking Palat from the Lightning.
Oh, well, that would make sense because the Lightning got to do a whole bunch of stuff here.
They're going to lose Coleman.
The Lightning's going to pace their first-round draft pick to Johnson, and that, or something of that nature. They'll give a second and Joseph and a few. Yeah, as it stands right now, Palat would be available, but he won't be available. There's no way. They're not going to.
Yeah, I'm just saying that's what I saw. I mean, he is a good player. He is a good player. I mean, I do think they lose Coleman. I think Coleman gets overpaid somewhere. I could see Vegas going after Coleman Vegas is going to go after some sort of good center. They really need an
Well,
extra center.
Coleman's not really a center. Coleman's more of a is it
I thought
Coleman's a
I thought he
winger?
was a center.
No, he's a winger.
Why was he as a center?
No, they're probably going to go after a center. If they a really good center, they could go after, but then they got to lose some. If I don't know, it's going to be tough for them.
Oh,
'Cause
you are right. He is a winger. Why was I thinking
Yeah.
he was a center? I don't know
No.
why. But still, I still think he gets overpaid somewhere.
Oh yeah, yeah. Somebody's going to pay big for him. But
Yeah.
Vegas doesn't have the cap room to make
Yeah.
something like that. But they need a center hardcore. So you never know with Vegas what they're like. Did I think they were going to get Peter Angelo? No. Right?
Yeah.
Like I couldn't believe they got Peter Angelo. So now, gosh, I don't know what they could package Carlson with someone. I really Vegas is the most. What's the word I'm looking for? I can't believe the word's not coming to me. You just can't figure out what Vegas is going to do. Like
I'm looking at the Lightning right now. We know they're going to keep Hedman, McDonough, and Sergachev.
Francis said now he said he's going to build his team through goalie, defense, and then center three. So yeah, if he's going to build it. That is the old school way. The new school way is you build a team with everything but goaltending and then add the goaltending afterwards. But the old school way was you build through your goaltending first, then defense, then center. That's the three most important things. So he's looking at it from that perspective.
I would rather have a dominant center than a dominant defenseman.
I think you got to have. Well, I mean, Vegas showed us that having a dominant center is pretty darn important since they didn't have one.
You want that depth right down the middle.
Yeah, I agree. But defense wins championships, right? That's the truth.
That's true. I'm not saying that's not important. I'm just saying to me, I would go goalie, center, and then defense, and then winger.
Sturm from the Wild. Well, what are they going to do with Dumba? If they protect four, we'll get into this next time. That's what we're going to do. We're going to look at some mock drafts out there. We're going to put it up on the screen.
I won't have a chance this weekend because I'm going to be celebrating American freedom this weekend.
Well, I'm not going to be doing
we still got some time.
I'm not going to be doing it on the weekend. I'm going to be doing it during the week.
To look this up.
I'm going to be doing it during the week next week. So we'll look at some mock drafts and we'll just...
I need some time. I need to really dive deep into it. I need to this is going to be like a week or so long project. I got a little bit of time. I mean, this weekend I'm going to be celebrating American freedom. 4th of July is on Sunday.
Yeah.
So, do you guys have your own version of 4th of July?
We had Canada Day. Yeah, I guess you want to call it that. We were awesome. You know how we got our freedom?
How so?
From Britain? We asked nicely.
Really? Yeah, we said F that. We're going to war.
Yeah, we asked nicely.
Really?
And they said, okay, but you have to venerate the Queen. And we were like, oh. And we waited like a really long time to say yes.
Wait, what do you mean? What do you mean venerate the Queen?
We have to acknowledge the Queen. We have Victoria Day, all kinds of stuff. Like we pretend that we like the Queen. That's all we had to do to get our independence. We just had to.
Really? That's it?
We just had to pretend we.
Yeah, we haven't go to war. What?
Oh no, Canada doesn't go to war. We don't war. Nah, we'll do anything but go to war. Not anything. We'll find another.
Crazy.
I didn't know that. We make people like our defense is we make people like us so much. And not only that, we have you guys, right? If anybody bombed Canada, they're done. Whoever bombs Canada is done tomorrow. Not just from the U.S., but from everywhere else.
Yeah, we're giving out history lessons right here, right now.
Yeah, exactly.
I never knew that. I don't know much about it, but I never knew that.
I got to go pick up my.
Yeah, we went to war. Oh, that was a fun twist to end it. A little history lesson there.
Beavers to moose, yeah. Beavers and moose to war, yeah. Okay, guys, that's my full 42. We'll see you on Monday. We're gonna do, we'll do we'll do some heavy expansion stuff for a while. Why not? Because I like it. It's fun.
I don't know if I'll be on Monday, but
Okay, if you're not, but I'll be
some
here
point
Monday.
next week I will
We'll
let
see
you
you all
know
then.
for sure.
Have a great day, everybody. Okay, bye.
Bye.